What's up, Chiefs Kingdom? Noah Gray here, tight end for the Kansas City Chiefs. Make sure you like, share, and subscribe to Josh's channel and check out showmefootball.com for more.
What is up, Chiefs Kingdom? Welcome back to another video on my channel. My name is Josh Fan of showmefootball.com and arrowheadaddict.com, covering your Kansas City Chiefs. And right now, it is Thursday at the time of recording this, which means we are just 2 days away from the Kansas City Chiefs AFC Divisional Round matchup with the Houston Texans. And there are two players in this game that I wanted to talk about for the Kansas City Chiefs that I believe could have a huge impact, and you could almost kind of consider them secret weapons per se. And the reason I say that is because the two guys that I am thinking of are players that we know what they're capable of. They're extremely talented, but you could kind of say that they've had somewhat of a quiet regular season or an under-the-radar regular season, but they're two guys that the Kansas City Chiefs brought in for this moment right here, the playoffs. First guy that I want to bring up is DeAndre Hopkins. He's someone that we talked about all week. We talked about him in the live stream with Michael Darcy and I. Everyone has questions about him. What do you think his usage will look like? You know, are they going to redline him now because that draft pick is no longer in question because there were stipulations around the draft pick that they gave up for DeAndre Hopkins? If they played him a certain percentage of the snaps, then the Chiefs would owe a richer draft pick. But the Chiefs pulled back DeAndre Hopkins' snaps during the regular season, and I believe that was all by design. That was on purpose. They were trying to keep him under that 60% of the snaps threshold so that they wouldn't have to give up a richer draft pick. And also just because, you know, it works out for them. DeAndre Hopkins is on the older side. You know, he's an older veteran now in this league. So they're trying to save him for the playoffs. And they were never trying to show all of their cards in the regular season. They were not always trying to show everything that DeAndre Hopkins was capable of in their offense. And we saw a little bit of what DeAndre Hopkins can do when he's fully integrated into the Chiefs' game plan. That first big game that he had against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers in prime time, where he had like 100 yards and 2 touchdowns, like DeAndre Hopkins still has that in him in a given week. But I don't think the Kansas City Chiefs were always trying to show that. I think they kind of wanted to pull him back after that and say, okay, we've seen what you can do. We know that it's there. Now let's save that for the playoffs. Let's kind of keep you low-key in this offense. You know, you'll still get targets. You'll still get contested catch opportunities here and there. And DeAndre Hopkins has made plenty of clutch third down catches throughout the regular season, but not too many huge games from him. Not too many games from DeAndre Hopkins that we're typically used to where he has several catches and 100 yards and is a threat in the red zone. They haven't even really used him in the red zone. But I think, again, that's all by design. And it feels like he's kind of become underrated since coming over to the Kansas City Chiefs. Everyone saw what he can do in that primetime game against the Buccaneers, man. And it just feels like since then, because the Chiefs kind of intentionally pulled him back so they didn't want to reveal everything, people have underrated him. Like, I've listened to a lot of previews this week and consumed a lot of media coverage of this game coming up, and I hardly hear any talk about DeAndre Hopkins. And I just feel like that's disrespectful. And this is a guy, too, who's getting his first taste of an actual shot at the Super Bowl, being on a team that has Super Bowl aspirations. And when you have guys like that, when you bring guys over like that, that just have never really been a part of something like this, they become extra hungry and ultra aggressive. And I think you're going to see that from DeAndre Hopkins. And as Michael Darcy pointed out in some of our videos earlier this week, this is a revenge game for him. The Texans are his former team. His exit from Houston was not exactly the best. It was not the best ending. He was traded out of nowhere by Bill O'Brien. You know, it sounded like he kind of butted heads with the coaching staff or the front office. Like, this is a big game for him. And it's going to be his first postseason game with the Chiefs, and I think you're going to see what he can do, man. And I wouldn't be surprised if we saw the Chiefs move him into kind of the Rashee Rice role, almost like a power slot wide receiver, because I think he's capable of doing that. And Rashee Rice obviously was a huge loss for this offense, but I think DeAndre Hopkins can do some of that. They also kind of showed that Juju Smith-Schuster can do some of that as well. And Juju Smith-Schuster is another guy. Now, he's not one of the people I was wanting to talk about in this video, but, I mean, he's a player that in a given game, can give you 75, 100 yards and make a huge impact. But I think DeAndre Hopkins is the focus here. I think he's going to have a huge postseason. It feels like he's going untalked about in this Houston Texans playoff matchup. Teams maybe aren't game planning for him the same way that they would if the Chiefs had, gone full throttle with him in the regular season. But because they didn't do that, feels like he's really flying under the radar right now. And it's going to be beneficial to the Kansas City Chiefs in this AFC Divisional Round game. And then the second guy I wanted to talk about as far as this Kansas City Chiefs playoff run goes, someone that I think can make a huge impact, is running back Kareem Hunt. I put him in the thumbnail earlier this week for the live Q&A with Michael Darcy because I believe he can have a huge postseason, and there's a few reasons why. Number one, with the Kansas City Chiefs having essentially a month off since their last real game, a lot of people have debated whether or not, that's too much rest or, are these guys going to be rusty? But I think there were a lot of guys on this team that needed that rest. And you want to talk about players on this team that benefit the most from getting that rest? Kareem Hunt is a big one. He is a huge benefactor of the Kansas City Chiefs having the last month or so off. Because let's remember, when they signed him off the street after losing Isaiah Pacheco to that broken leg earlier in the season, he came in off the couch. He did not go through training camp with the Chiefs. He didn't have a preseason. He kind of just walked in here. He probably wasn't even expecting to be signed, certainly not by the Chiefs, before they called. And so there was an adjustment period, and you can kind of tell he added a little bit of thickness, right? Since the last time he was a Kansas City Chief. He's a little bit more built like a bowling ball now than he was before, although he was always kind of bigger like that, kind of stockier build. But you get my point. And so, you could see that he started to wear down the more carries that the Chiefs gave him, and later in the season, he was becoming less effective. Still an efficient player, still really good in short yardage, but like the yards per carry numbers weren't really there. Now, granted, I think the yards per carry doesn't tell the entire story because there were a few times where they would hand the ball to Kareem 4 or 5 times at the end of the game. He would just slide down to kill clock, and it took away from some of his stats. Overall, he's been an extremely positive player for this team, though. But he's a guy that I think could have a huge postseason because he's gotten all that rest now, and he's finally getting rest that he probably really needed and never really got because he was kind of thrown into the fire in the middle of the Chiefs season without training camp or preseason or anything like that. And he is on the older side. He is around the age where running backs start to take a dip in production. But that's why that rest is so huge for him, because I think he's going to be re-energized, rejuvenated. And then, of course, you add in the fact that this is his second chance in KC. He never thought that he was going to see this. No, even I never expected the Chiefs to actually bring back Kareem Hunt. But man, he talked about how hard it was after getting cut from the Kansas City Chiefs that first time around back in 2018. That was really tough for him. He felt like he missed out on winning a Super Bowl. It completely changed his career. He said, he enjoyed his time with the Cleveland Browns, but he always was a Kansas City Chief. He wanted to be a Chief. And he was ecstatic when he came back here because it was a chance for him to make things right and actually contribute to the Chiefs winning a Super Bowl championship. And I think that guy is just so ready to give 110% this postseason, and he's saving his best for last, and he may not get another shot. There's no guarantee that he gets brought back to the Chiefs next year. So he knows this could be it. This is your chance, man, at redemption. This is your chance to stamp your name on a Kansas City Chiefs Super Bowl run. And these are the kind of stories too that you just absolutely love. Just when it comes to sports, Chiefs football, and excuse my language because I'm about to say something here. I'm so fucking glad the Chiefs brought back Kareem Hunt. He so deserves a ring. The progress that he's made to become a better person, a better teammate, a better man and to get this opportunity, man. I'm so glad he's a Chief. And I think he deserves a ring almost more than anyone on this team. And DeAndre Hopkins is probably right up there as far as guys on this team that I really want to see win a ring. I want to see Kareem Hunt win a ring. And I think, after the way things ended last time he was in KC, like, he wants to do good so bad. He wants to make it right so bad. And I think he's going to benefit from all this rest. And he's going to absolutely feast this postseason. And if the Chiefs do end up moving Joe Thuney back inside and having DJ Humphries at left tackle, if he's ready to go, that creates the best running lanes for a guy like Kareem Hunt. He has the best vision out of any of the backs on this roster. And I think that rest is just going to be huge for him. Like, he's going to be ready to go. And he kind of looked like he was off the couch in the regular season. And so now that he's in a little bit better football shape and now his body has had time to recover and adjust, I just think you're going to see a little bit of an extra pop from him now that we're in the postseason. You're also going to see him involved more in the receiving game, I think, and that's an underrated part of his game still to this day. So, man, look out for Kareem Hunt. I'm telling you, like, this guy is going to do great things this postseason. And another thing that I like about him, and I don't want to jinx it, so I'm going to knock on wood here. My desk is made of wood, but Kareem Hunt doesn't fumble. He does not fumble. He had that one fumble at the beginning of his career, in his first career game against the New England Patriots, and I don't believe he's fumbled since then. And even back in college with Toledo, he never fumbled. And I think that is massive when you're trying to win a Super Bowl, to have a guy that you can hand the rock to and depend on him. He's going to protect it. He's not going to turn it over, and he's going to get you that first down when you need it, because Isaiah Pacheco, as much as we all love him, it's not a guarantee that he's getting that first down for you in short yardage, but it feels almost automatic with Kareem Hunt, and it's going to keep a lot of drives alive. That could swing points in a game like this Houston Texans divisional round game. So I'm excited for Kareem Hunt, man. I think, he's going to be unleashed in the postseason, similar to DeAndre Hopkins. I also believe that the Chiefs are trying to dial him back a little bit after giving him so many carries at the start. And they kind of had to out of necessity. But those are the two players that I think the Chiefs are ready to unleash. You can consider them secret weapons. People aren't really talking about them, but I think they could both have huge impact. So I want to hear from you guys down in the comments below who you think could have a huge impact for the Chiefs this postseason that people aren't really talking about. Anything you agree with me, disagree with me on, would love to hear from you, and what you think of my picks as far as two big impact guys for the Chiefs this postseason. So all that being said, make sure you like, share, and subscribe so more Chiefs fans can find this. And make sure you check out my work on showmefootball.com and arrowheadaddict.com for more. And I'll see you all in the next one. And as always, go Chiefs!